If you've never generated AI images, I've got the platform for you. And if you're someone who is obsessed with creating AI generated images, welcome to the club, and this platform is also for you. The platform I'm talking about is OpenArt. I made a video a few weeks back showing you their really cool facial expression changer tool. Check that out if you haven't already. The images that are going by are all things that I created in OpenArt. Before we go any farther, I want to be upfront with you and let you know that OpenArt is sponsoring this video. I couldn't be happier that they reached out and wanted to work with a little guy like me. Their platform is already something I was interested in, and I am happy to spread the word about it because I like the platform, I like the company, and I think you will too. Now let's get into OpenArt so I can show you around. Once you create an account on OpenArt, this will be your home page. We have two big buttons here, Create Image and Edit Image, and those are the two main things that OpenArt is for, creating images and editing image. Of course, they have plenty of other tools and features and different ways to get into those tools and features. Create Image is where I spend most of my time in OpenArt, so we'll hop in there and see how that works. If you're looking at this page and you're seeing this line up here that says you don't have any generations yet, and you're thinking, oh Bob, you been lying to me, you're talking about things you create on OpenArt, you ain't created nothing yet. No, I'm just organized, and OpenArt lets me do that with albums. I can organize all my generated images into these albums based on the project that I was using them for, the type of image that they were, or whatever. But the right side of this page isn't where we want to focus right now anyway. We want to look at creating images, and the action there all happens down this left side. So the very first thing you have is custom settings, and they provide you with some built-in custom settings, fantasy, anime, photorealistic, or you can click this button right here and it will open you up into over 100 different style palettes to pick from. I really like that they have these nicely organized. If you hover over any one of these styles, it will switch the image. They have two images for each one. Sometimes when platforms give me a cover image as the preview of the style, I'm not sure what exactly it is about that image that is part of this style. But when I hover the cover images in OpenArt styles, I see two very different examples using the same style, so I can tell what the style is really all about. If you were to go ahead and pick one of these styles, you just click on it. When it pops you back into your create page, you'll notice that it already picked the model for you. In this case, it was the Juggernaut XL, and it drops in the prompt that it used to generate that image that you saw in the cover. If we don't want to pick from the style palette, we can just come right below it to the model, click on switch, really click anywhere in this box, and it'll open up all the models that you have to pick from. You can filter them by one of the categories that's across the top. You can also search the models, and if you've generated your own models, you'll have a tab right next to it with your own models. They have a lot of models based on Stable Diffusion, but they also have Flux. I believe at the moment they're using Flux Schnell, but there are plans to bring in Flux Dev. The default model is OpenArt SDXL. It's sort of a general purpose model, so it can handle the cartoons and anime and fantasy stuff, but it can also do photorealistic stuff as well. And if you're really into photorealistic, which tends to be my favorite thing, I can just click this photorealistic category, and then I can see all the models that are specific to photorealism. I'm going to switch my category back to standard, and I'm going to pick the OpenArt SDXL model. We'll just clear out this prompt that we popped in when we switched that style up, and then I'm going to paste in a prompt from my list of things to try. If creating the long detailed prompts are not your thing, you've got a couple of helper options here. Click this drop down next to Enhance Prompt, and for 1 credit you can do a quick enhance. That one's my favorite. You can also use Customize Prompt, which lets you pick from a pick list the color palette and the style. And of course you have Image to Prompt built right in here into this prompt box. So if you're trying to generate an image that looks like another image, you'll be able to bring in that image, get the prompt that it would use to create that image, and then tweak it however you want. I'm going to use Quick Enhance. Now what I really like about this, it doesn't just go off and start generating. I can make changes. In this case, the prompt is just fine. But in some situations, AI art generation and coming up with your prompts is a little bit like deciding where you want to go for dinner. You don't know what you don't want until you hear or see it. Under the More settings, the negative prompt is optional, but what I really like, if you click this commonly used button, you see this general, people, photorealistic, safe for work. These are all preloaded, so if you click one of them, like if I click photorealistic, it'll pop in some tags that are commonly used in photorealistic images. I can use more than one of those. So if I go back and click on commonly used, and I said people, well then it drops in all the things that we usually use use when we're creating images of people. So I don't have to type them in. I don't have to copy and paste and have some other document open somewhere. I'm going to take out my people references. You've got your prompt adherence, your CFG score, how closely you want it to adhere to your prompt. That by default here is on 7. We're going to leave it there. The prompt enhance mode, this is another feature that I really like. Now we've already enhanced our prompt for this image, so we don't really need it this time, but here's what's really cool about it. You can set it to on where it automatically enhances your prompt, and this will enhance the prompt after it's sent to the robots. So you won't be able to edit this before you hit the go button. Switch it to off if you want it to leave your prompt exactly how you wrote it, but then auto gives you half of the images with the prompt the way you wrote it, and then half of the images with the prompt enhanced. So if you say generate 2 images, it's going to generate 1 using the prompt you typed in. Maybe that's the monarch butterfly on a purple coneflower. And then for the other image, it'll enhance the prompt. That's not only cool for getting good images, but that's cool for learning how to get good images. I just love that they give you a half and half on that with this auto option. This prompt wouldn't be a good example for the auto enhancement because we've already enhanced it. So I'm going to take it back close to the original monarch butterfly on a purple coneflower. We'll leave this one auto. If you want to use image guidance, it's all built into the make it happen menu. They've got image to image. They've got style reference. Just expand this little tab here, drag and drop, or click and upload your image. And then it'll ask you how much weight you want to give that image reference. And yes, they do have a face reference. So if you're trying to create consistent characters or make portraits of the same person, this image guidance can be really helpful. They've also got the advanced control net here. Drop that down. I dropped in this rose. Now we get a mode drop down. Then we get the control weight and the resize mode. If you don't know what any of that is, don't worry about it. You never have to touch it. We'll delete that image. We'll just shrink that back up and we never have to look at it again. In fact, if you don't want to deal with image guidance at all, you never want to see it, you can just collapse that and now it's not in your way. Select your aspect ratio. You can pick from one of the drop-down options or you can dial it in yourself. Advanced settings, this is probably for the more advanced users, but if you want to turn on tiling, if you want to choose which sampler it's going to use, if you want to select a seed, tell it how many steps you want it to go, or have it set to automatically upscale and have it enhance the face or enhance based on anime style. You never have to touch this if you don't want to. We'll just shrink that back up. We don't even have to know it's there. But if you like to tinker around under the hood and make those precise changes, it's there for you. Number of images is on a slider. By default, this is set at 2. And anytime you switch models or start in here, this will switch back to 2. I'm going to go ahead and switch that to 4. I'm going to hit create and let that get started. You'll see your generations percolating over here on the right side. While you're gazing at those previews, remember our custom settings up here where we could drop down and we could pick from one of the 3 most common or go look at one of the other styles. You can also save your current settings as a custom setting, a preset. You get to decide what it's saving. You can uncheck ones that you don't want to save. And looky there, when I come back in, I've got it in my drop down. You have all kinds of things you can do, like inpaint, remove, expand, stylize, change the background, edit the face. Over on the right, you have the option to move it into one of your albums, download it to your computer, publish it into the community feed, reuse these same settings. I really like the way the economy at OpenArt works. They don't have complicated formulas like this one will be 47 credits or this one will be 22 credits or whatever. For the most part, it's 1 credit per image that you're generating. If I slid that down and said just give me 2, it changes to 2 credits. If I go up to 4, it's 4 credits. Now that's not to say they'll never have a model that will require more credits, but I think everything I've seen is 1 image equals 1 credit. When we use the enhance prompt option earlier, we'll drop that down so you can see the quick enhance that cost 1 credit. So that was just 1 credit for that prompt, not 1 credit for every image you generate from it. If you use the customized prompt, that would be 1 credit too. You know, I'm all about automating as many things as you can and doing as many things in bulk. Anything I can power from a spreadsheet makes me happy, and OpenArt does that for your image generations. Yes, you can upload a list of prompts and have it bulk generate. Now, the number of images per upload depends on what plan you're on. I'm on the hobbyist plan, so I get up to 100 images per creation. Pro gets 500. In the plan I'm on, I can do up to 100 at one time and a total of 500 in a month. That's a lot of images. All right, now let's go back to the home page. If you're an AI image guru, you also have ComfyUI workflows built right into OpenArt. This is definitely on the advanced end. It's not something that you have to use, and if you're new to AI image generation, this is probably not the place you want to start. When you reach the point where you want the customization and the precision, well, it's here for you. And the vast majority of these models you can run on OpenArt's servers. This is just a handful of the workflows that are available. There are many, many more. You can also upload your own workflow. But if you're like, hey, I don't understand this ComfyUI stuff, so this ain't for me, that is just one option, one feature that OpenArt offers. You can do a whole lot in OpenArt without ever going into ComfyUI workflows. It's just another way to go about generating images for the folks that have that skill set and want that precise control over everything. Edit is where we're going to go next. But first, let's just take a look at the quick starts, because these are ways to get into some of the creating or editing features that are sort of like shortcuts to get you to the part of the app that you're looking for. For instance, if you want to go straight to the upscaler, you can also explore the models, bulk create, you can go straight to it. You can also train your own model by uploading a sample of images, whether it's your product or your face or whatever it is you want to generate images of. And then image to prompt, you want to upload an image and have it tell you what kind of prompt would create an image like that. Many of the featured apps are also just shortcuts to specific sections within editing or creating images, like changing facial expressions, upscaling, stylizing, sketch to image, image to 3D. There's so much you can do in OpenArt, removing backgrounds, expanding, or creating variation. And there are plenty more, but I don't want this video to get too long. Let's take a look in the image editor. You can either click this add image button to bring something in from your computer, or if you want to bring in something that you've created on OpenArt, just come to this top left where it says create, click that, it takes you back to your generations page, click on the little pencil icon to edit, or you can switch over to your albums from here and pick whatever image you want, just click the pencil icon, it'll open up in the editor. When you have an image selected in the editor, you get this little sidecar over here, which is really cool because if you have multiple images on this canvas, whichever one you select, you'll have this, I don't know what they call it, I'm calling it a sidecar because it's sort of hitched to the image and it goes wherever the image goes. But with that, you've got the smart select where it will identify the different areas of the image and you can individually select them. You can one click remove the background, and once that background's removed, you can with one click put it back in. You can crop, and I love that they added this because when you can have the editing functions like crop that are really simple from the normal editing world combined with all the AI stuff, that's a good place to be. The blend board is a subject for a whole other video, but it allows you using layers to start with a background image and then bring in other elements and it will blend them and make them look like they're supposed to be there and not like you just dropped clip art on top of something. We've got the Inpaint tool going on right now. If you hover over it, it gives you a quick little explainer of what it's doing. You can manually brush over a section that you want to inpaint, or you can use the click area. That's doing the smart select where it's identifying which regions are different parts, and you can just click the parts that you want to inpaint. They've also got a remove tool which has two settings. There's a quick erase if you just got some little random thing that you need to get rid of, and it's very simple and very quick. There's also a magic erase for more complex things, like you need to erase things in a couple different areas of the image, or you need to erase something that's sort of going around something else and popping out in other places. The expand feature I've used a whole lot because I generated a bunch of images that were 1:1 and I ended up needing them in 16:9, but I really liked the images that I generated, so rather than redo them again, I just went to the expand feature and made all my 1:1 16:9s. With stylize, you can pick a style and apply it to an existing image. You can change the background in your image by just describing it. Face, I have a whole video on that, how we change facial expressions and we can adjust every detail of the face in our image. I think this is a fantastic tool for trying to get consistent characters. They also have specialized in-painting editors built for hands and faces. So you choose the edit people tool, you brush over the hand that didn't turn out so well, you describe what it needs to be, and it will generate a new hand for you. And then you also have find and replace, which is pretty cool. You bring in an image that, for instance, they've got an image of a cat sitting at a piano. With find and replace, you can say, find the cat, make it a dog. And then there's the upscaler. So you have the tools based on whichever feature you're using. You have these things in what I'm calling the sidecar over here, and then the selections beneath. underneath. But then over on the right, you've got a little bit more. There's a lot of these pro tips throughout the platform that help you get a quick understanding of what it is you're doing so that you're not sitting here staring at a blank screen going, what do I do? Where do I click? How does this work? When you're inpainting, you have a prompt, a negative prompt, and then you can also choose from fast inpainting, quality inpainting, or if you have something more specific, like you're working with photorealistic, anime, or fantasy, you can select those specifically. And then you can also adjust the prompt adherence and the steps and how many different versions you want it to give you. If I say click area, now as I go across this image with my mouse, I have all the different areas and regions. So I'm going to pick the butterfly here. Over in our prompt, I'm going to say a blue butterfly on a purple coneflower. Select the photorealistic model. If I want to add image guidance into my inpainting, I can do that too. And I just leave all these other settings the same and hit create. And then this panel down the right, I see the 4 options that it came up with. I can click on one of those and then scan through using these arrows at the 4 different variations that it came up with. Can also choose to add one of them to the canvas, like that one. I click add to canvas and there it is. Oh my gosh, that's big. It came out much larger than our original. If I just click on the original image, then these 4 pop up again. If I don't like any of these, I can just click back to edit up here in the upper right and go back and change my prompt, change my selection or whatnot. What I've come to learn about AI image editing is not to get frustrated when it doesn't give you exactly what you want the first time, especially if it gives you something that's a little bit closer than where you were. So if there's one that's closer to what I want than what I have on the screen right now, I'll just click select. It'll pop in there. I'm going to go ahead and click this, and there's a little trash can in this sidecar that I will delete that image because it's just in our way. There we can see this one a little bit better. And now I'd probably go back to the Inpaint and work on this area a little bit more. When I'm all finished with this image, I can just hit the delete and get it off the canvas and we're ready to start with something new. And here's something else that's really cool. If I go back to create image, these are my 4 original butterflies. If I come up here and click on editing history, now what I've got is the 4 variations from my inpainting on the editor. When it comes to upscaling, if we go to the ultimate upscaler, you have 2 major options, which are precise and creative. Precise upscaling is telling the robots, hey, I like what I created. Just make it higher resolution. I want what I got and I want it to be pretty. With the creative upscale, you're giving it the liberty to make some changes. And that's great as long as you don't have a very specific person or thing in the image that really can't be changed. And the ultimate upscale is 10 credits per generation. And that's regardless of whether you are upscaling to 4K or 2K. Let's take a look at OpenArt's pricing and stick around because I do have a little bit of a discount for you. You can test drive OpenArt for free. They give you 40 one-time trial credits. Those don't replenish and they do expire after 7 days. But if you join their Discord server, you can get another 50 trial credits. And I can tell you that the OpenArt community is very active in their Discord server. Not just fans and users, but the founders in there very frequently. And even though there isn't an ongoing free plan, it's really a free trial, I appreciate that all your creations are private. In other words, unless you hit that publish button, the things you create aren't just going to automatically be put on the community feed. If you want to go monthly, the plans start at $14 and go up to $56. If you switch to annually, it's 50% off, which brings it down to $7 a month or $84 a year for the starter plan. That gets you 5,000 credits a month. If you're interested in the bulk creation, that gets you 100 images in bulk creation a month, 20 in any one single upload or send. You get a whole lot of stuff with this starter plan, and I think it's pretty reasonably priced. It gets you access to all the image generation, the editing tools, the apps, the upscaler, inpainting, control nets, image guidance, and all of that. And remember, we're talking about like 5,000 credits per month on the starter plan. It's not as though there's some complicated formula that every image you create costs 77.5 credits. So how many images does that truly boil down to? For the most part, the images are 1 credit per generation. Now, if you choose to upscale an image, you can get into like 10 credits or whatnot, and you'll be using credits with some of the editing features that you use as well. But in my experience tooling around in OpenArt, the most popular credit pricing I'm seeing is this will cost 1 credit, this will cost 2 credits. There's a number of images per day that'll be in turbo mode, that's that double speed, and then everything else will be at normal speed. So for the starter, you get 5,000 credits per month, but after you do 200 images in a single day, it's going to drop down to normal speed after that. But that's images per day, not per month. As you go up in plans, like the hobbyist plan, it's 15,000 credits per month, and the bulk creations goes up to 100 per time and 500 total for the month, and access to not safe for work prompts and not safe for work models. As promised, I've got a discount code for you in the description, which will get you another 10% off. So in the annual plan with the 50% off going on, the 10% will be on top of that. For instance, the hobbyist plan, which is $156 a year with the 50% off, you would take the 10% off of that then. So it'd be another $15.60 off of that $156. It'll also work on the monthly plan too, but keep in mind the 10% discount is only good for the first term. So if you go annual, the 10% off is only going to apply to this first year. And then when you renew next year, you won't have the 10%. I don't know about the 50%. But on the monthly plan, if you're using the 10% discount code that I'm giving you, and say you do hobbyist for 1 month at $26, it'll take $2.60 off. But then when you go to renew for the next month, it'll be its normal price, the $26. I'll have that coupon code along with a link to OpenArt in the description. And it is an affiliate link, which means if you end up making a purchase, you don't have to. Go try it out for free. Get those extra credits on Discord. Take it for a test drive, see if you like it. But if you do end up making a purchase, I may receive a small commission. And I genuinely appreciate it when folks use my affiliate links. This is how I support my family, so it means a lot.